yellow hammer, come see how we rock this. Alabama fans the best, there's no way you can top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this. The process.
Welcome into the process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I'm your host, Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst, Touchdown Alabama magazine. Thank you guys so much for joining me on today's episode of the process. This is Tuesday's show, the first show of the week. As always, you guys can check out the process every Tuesday and Thursday right here on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. So be sure to subscribe to Touchdown Alabama on YouTube to stay updated on everything Alabama football recruiting with the process and yours truly. On this episode of the process, I wanted to take a look at JC Latham's recruitment, the 5-star offensive lineman out of IMG Academy, who is expected to announce his commitment very soon. This is a battle that looks like it is down to Alabama and Ohio State, so I'll break down his recruitment and some of the things I am hearing about Latham, as it looks like he's on the peak of making a college decision, and it looks like it's down, as I said earlier, to Alabama and Ohio State. I actually recently also caught up with 2021 4-star Donovan Edwards and his family. This is a guy who received a FaceTime call from Nick Saban recently. I got a chance to talk with Kevin Edwards, the father of Donovan Edwards. I will talk to you guys about where I feel Alabama stands in his recruitment as well on this episode of the process. Before I dive deeper into all of that information, I do have a couple of recruiting updates to hit you guys with, so that's what we're going to go to next. So with that being said, let's get the process started. I have a couple of interesting recruiting updates to provide you guys with, as 2021 4-star outside linebacker Jeremiah Williams out of Ramsey High School in Birmingham, Alabama, recently released his top 6 schools and included Alabama. I think this really gives everyone a look at some of the other schools that are continuing to push for Williams. I do think Alabama is in a great position with Williams, with him being an in-state prospect. I think he wants to take some more visits and get a chance to evaluate his options a little bit more before a decision is made, but he did release that top 6 and included Alabama. Alabama was also included in a top 5 released by Xavier Sorey, a 4-star athlete out of Florida. This is a kid Alabama is recruiting to most likely play linebacker at the next level, but during his time at Graceville High School in Florida, he has had a chance to play running back, tight end, a little bit of wide receiver, linebacker, so many different positions all over the field. We actually got a chance to talk with this head coach at Graceville High School and Barry Gardner on the process a couple of episodes back, and he broke down what Xavier Sorey brings to the table, stating that he's going to be better once he gets to the college level, once he gets a chance to focus on one position. I actually recently caught up with another guy out of Florida, Interior Honor, who actually expressed to me that there are some plans in motion for Xavier Sorey to join him in Tallahassee, Florida at John Paul Catholic High School for his senior season. This is a kid who really wants Sorey on his team, and this is a kid Alabama is recruiting very hard as well. Going back to when he joined me on the process, Terry Arnold, he actually expressed that Nick Saban told him during a FaceTime call that he's their number 1 defensive back on their board. Of course, Alabama has offered Terry Arnold in both sports, football and basketball. I talked about that with him as well. I'll drop the link to that article in the description of this video, as Terry Arnold broke down his desire to play with Xavier Sorey as a senior, broke down them possibly being a package deal, as some of the same schools are continuing to recruit them, and also talked about Alabama's basketball offer, talked about Colin Sexton, the former Alabama point guard and current Cleveland Cavalier point guard. As I said, I will drop that link to that article in the description of this video. So a lot of things are going on with recruiting, whether it's directed towards Alabama or indirectly affecting Alabama's recruiting efforts, as Alabama is recruiting both of those guys, Interior Arnold and Xavier Sorey. Alabama also recently extended a couple new offers. One of those offers went out to 2022 4-star running back Damari Austin out of Georgia, out of the Atlanta, Georgia area. This is a kid who had a very impressive sophomore season. Alabama offered him based off that film. I actually got a chance to catch up with him. This is a kid who has a lot of respect for the University of Alabama. Grew up a Georgia fan, but he said he always had a lot of respect for Alabama, what they have continued to do under Nick Saban. I will drop the link to that article under the description of this video. And as I said earlier in the show, what I was going to talk about with JC Latham, he did say on Twitter, which is what prompted all of this fire around his recruitment when it comes to him possibly making a decision. He recently tweeted out saying, yo, it's time for me to make a decision. I need a commitment edit. And that's where all of the fire and all of the talks and all of the rumors started to circle around his recruitment. But I'm going to talk about him a little bit more in detail later on in the show. And as I said earlier in the show as well, I also caught up with 2021 four-star running back Donovan Edwards and his family. You guys check out that article on touchdownalabama.com where his dad, Kevin Edwards, got a chance to catch up with me and talk about some of the things that Nick Saban told him during that Zoom call, actually. So I will drop the link to that article in the description of this video as well. So there's a ton of things going on with Alabama football recruiting as things continue to move forward, as Alabama continues to prioritize some of the top targets in each recruiting class, especially the 2021 class. But now I'm going to dive into some of the things I'm hearing about JC Latham and also some of the things I am hearing from Donovan Edwards and his father, Kevin Edwards. Well, JC Latham is now expected to announce his commitment in the coming days or so. I actually got a chance to talk with a source at IMG Academy, one of the leaders of the IMG Academy football team. They did express to me that Latham was a week away from making a decision on Sunday, so I expect him to make a decision later in this week, as far as a Thursday or Friday or possibly this weekend or early next week. I do think Alabama is in a great position with Latham heading into his decision. With Latham expected to announce a commitment in the coming days, I think this is a good thing for Alabama for several different reasons. Just going back to when I got a chance to talk with Latham at the Under Armour Future 50 Media Day event in January in Orlando, Florida. He actually told me that Alabama was not in heavy contact with him at that point. Of course, Alabama's coaching staff was attempting to close out their 2020 recruiting class pretty strong, possibly push for some guys late in that recruiting cycle. So Alabama's coaching staff was focused really hard on the 2020 recruiting class heading into the traditional signing period in February when I got a chance to talk with Latham. So now it looks like things have changed. And I think Evan Neal, the offensive tackle at the University of Alabama, has played a large role in Alabama pushing for Latham. Just going off of Evan Neal, just going back to when Alabama hosted their junior day events in February and March, when you get a chance to see some of the recruits that they hosted and some of their pictures, you oftentimes see Evan Neal hanging in the background. And I think this is something Alabama has relied on. Evan Neal telling offensive linemen, especially offensive lineman targets and offensive lineman prospects, his journey, how he quickly worked his way into Alabama's offensive lineman rotation, how he quickly dropped some pounds, quickly got in his shape, and quickly learned Alabama's playbook, and quickly got some playing time as a freshman. It looks like his career is off to a great start at the University of Alabama, and I think that speaks volumes to potential prospects, especially offensive lineman prospects. Everyone wants to play early. Everyone wants to get in the rotation early, and everyone wants to go to a place where they can shine. And Evan Neal has shown that from the offensive line position. I think this is one of the reasons that Alabama's coaching staff likes to rely on Evan Neal when it comes to hosting recruits, just being a player that's around those junior day events and those big visit weekends that they have at the University of Alabama for potential recruits. But looking at JC Latham, this is a kid who has some similarities to Evan Neal. Both guys are over 300 pounds. Both guys played at IMG Academy, and both guys are going to play offensive tackle at the next level. Of course, Evan Neal is the offensive tackle already, but JC Latham will play offensive tackle once he gets to the college level. So there are some similarities between these guys. And just looking at from JC Latham's perspective, you see a guy who has came from the same school that you came from. You see a guy who you have seen at the offensive tackle position just rose, continue to fight and go to the University of Alabama and quickly rise up their depth chart and become one of their starting offensive linemen. I think that really paints a picture for Latham at the offensive tackle position. And just going back to the way Alabama has recruited throughout this recruiting dead period, I had a couple of guys on the process who say that Alabama's coaching staff has been in contact with them every day. I have the Brockermeyer twins, two of Alabama's top offensive lineman targets. You have James Brockermeyer telling me that Alabama's offensive line coach offensive line coach Kyle Flood Zoom calls him weekly. Nick Saban is staying in contact with both him and his brother. They're both pushing for them. Alabama's offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian also in contact with both of the Brockermeyer twins. The Alabama coaching staff has really made a collective effort when it comes to some of the top targets in the 2021 recruiting class throughout this recruiting dead period. So they are hitting JC Latham very hard. Now that's one of the main reasons why I feel that Alabama is in a good position, with Latham expected to announce his commitment very soon. But just looking at what Latham can do on the football field, this is a kid that stands at 6'6" and weighs more than 300 pounds. And it's a true 6'6", it's a true 300 pounds. When I got a chance to see him in action when IMG Academy took on Hoover, he was really impressive. He really stood out just based off his size alone. And when just remembering when he actually walked into the Under Armour Future 50 Media Day, he walked into the room, you could tell that he was a big kid, a kid who really just caught your eye when he walked into the room. So this is a massive kid, has a bit of a leaner frame than Evan Neal, especially coming out of high school. There's a lot to like about his ability on the football field. He's very mobile. He really carries his weight really well. He really carries his weight like a guy who's 20 pounds lighter. So I really like Latham for several reasons on the football field, and I think Alabama is in a great position with him. I wouldn't be surprised if Alabama gained this commitment in the coming days or so, but Ohio State still looks to be a possible landing spot for Latham, even if it's down the line. I don't think if he gives Alabama his commitment, the Buckeyes are just going to fall off and go, Alabama got him. I still expect them to make a push for JC Latham. So I feel Alabama is in a great position, as I said, for all of those different reasons. I think that Latham is going to be a great pickup for whatever school picks him up in the coming days. As I said, IMG Academy source did tell me that a decision is expected a week away from last Sunday. So I expect the commitment coming very soon. Switching gears to Donovan Edwards, the 2021 four-star running back out of West Bloomfield High School in West Bloomfield, Michigan. Alabama's head coach Nick Saban was actually on a Zoom call with him and his father, Kevin Edwards, on last week. Kevin Edwards did express to me that the Zoom call really focused on what the University of Alabama has to offer its student athletes off the football field, the position the university could put student athletes in once their college football career, once their playing days are over. And I think they're really impressed. The Edwards family, Kevin Edwards and Donovan, did get a chance to visit the University of Alabama in the past. They were really impressed with the town. It was a great college town, as Kevin Edwards said. He did say he was really impressed with the university and how clean the campus was, and he actually got a chance to visit the University of Alabama. He also talked about the great Southern hospitality that was shown to him and his family, and how everyone was so nice. So he and his family are impressed with the University of Alabama. Of course, several other Power 5 programs are continuing to push for Donovan. When you look at their in-state program, Michigan, also Georgia, and also Notre Dame are really pushing for the four-star running back, and it's easy to see why. He's one of the more versatile running backs in the 2021 recruiting class. A guy who's really a weapon out of the backfield when it comes to catching the ball out of the backfield. He really thrives off that part of his game. He actually told me recently in an interview that he's working to improve that part of his game and be more of a weapon in the offensive passing game out of the backfield. But Alabama, as far as a push for Edwards, they have been in constant contact with them. Alabama's offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian and Alabama's running back coach Charles Huff have both been in contact with Donovan Edwards. As of late, they've really been pushing the fact that Donovan Edwards could come to the University of Alabama and continue Alabama's great legacy of great running backs, and as well as build his own legacy at the University of Alabama in the backfield for the Tide. So Alabama looks to be in a great position with Edwards. In my mind, of course, Michigan is still a heavy contender, possibly the leader, with them being an in-state program and being one of the schools that have shown a lot of interest in Edwards. But I think Alabama is in a great position. I think if a commitment does come for him in the next couple of weeks or possibly this summer, I think it's going to be Michigan. But if Alabama can get Edwards to not commit this summer, wait till he can take some more visits, get him on campus during the football season, I think that will better Alabama's chances for Edwards. Of course, Alabama is looking to add possibly 1 or 2 running backs in the 2021 recruiting class after landing 3 in the 2020 recruiting cycle, and Donovan Edwards looks to be one of the top targets in the 2021 recruiting class. The article that I got a chance to interview Kevin Edwards. The link to that article will be in the description of this video. Be sure to check out that article. That's a wrap for this episode of The Process. Thank you guys so much for joining me right here on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. While you're here, be sure to subscribe to Touchdown Alabama on YouTube to stay updated on everything Alabama football recruiting with The Process and yours truly right here on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. Head over to touchdownalabama.com. Pick up a subscription to Touchdown Alabama. With that subscription, you'll be able to read all of our subscriber only articles. You'll also be able to get your hands on our yearly print magazine issue. So be sure to subscribe to touchdownalabama.com while you're at it. Then download the Touchdown Alabama app on your mobile device or your tablet. Be sure to download the app. It is in the Google Play Store as well as the Apple App Store. So be sure to download the Touchdown Alabama app. As always, I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine.